Hello, children, and welcome to this week's off-site interview. We are a week early, but due to some special programming, I got the boot. Anyhow, we're here a week early. So welcome to this week's off-site interview of Luke's Lookout Show, where we're looking out for God's truths. As I already told you in the studio, the truth that we're looking out for is Olam. Can you kids say that? Oh, yes, I think I heard it. Anyhow, Olam means the Lord is eternal. And I do have a very special guest for us today. This here is Peter. And Peter is from the New Testament. I do usually interview people from the Old Testament, but they've been getting a little testy lately. And when Moses tried to just take over last week, I kind of had to switch to the New Testament. So we'll see how this one goes. Peter, you better be on your very best behavior. Anyway, Peter is here to tell us about Olam. Peter, what do you have to tell us?
May I take this?
Certainly. He's off to a bad start.
I tried to ask nicely.
Do continue.
Well, anyways, kids, children, little people, I am here to tell you about Olam. I actually know a lot about Olam. See, That's why you're here. Right, I am aware. See, I was an apostle of Jesus Christ. I was actually in the inner circle, if you may. I was one of the three known to be closest to Christ.
Wow!
Yep, it is true. It is true. And you see, being so close to Christ, I was able to learn things about things like Olam, which means the Lord is everlasting. Well, I actually thought we should start tonight with our story, and we should start with my good friend John, who was also an apostle, also in the inner circle. And you see, John, he wrote about Jesus Christ. I mean, a lot of us wrote about Jesus Christ because Jesus Christ is the way and the truth and the life, and nobody comes to the Father but through him.
So, how does this teach us about Olam?
I'm getting there.
Cut to the chase.
So anyways, John was talking about Jesus Christ, and he was telling us right before Jesus got arrested. And Jesus was...
Now, this sounds interesting.
Yes, he got arrested, and then if you kids don't know, he got crucified and then defeated death and rose again. But
praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord. But starting off, we're going to talk about how Christ prayed. He prayed not just anyone, but the everlasting God.
You mean Olam?
Yes, Olam. You see, Christ prayed for a multitude of people when he was praying. He prayed for himself. He then prayed for his disciples and apostles, like me. And he then prayed for all believers. Well, as he was praying for himself, in fact, let's see if I can read this here. Out of the book of John, chapter 17, he actually wrote, "Now, Father, glorify me with yourself, with the glory which I had with you before the world was."
Whoa! So this is like God saying that he was around before the world was around?
That's exactly true.
That's incredible!
It really is incredible there, Luke.
I can't say I was around before the world was around.
No, it's actually very unable to understand. It is hard to understand the things of God because he is so great that we just cannot understand. In fact, later on, I actually wrote about how it's hard to understand God being everlasting in my letter to the church So much.
Must be a good letter.
It was a letter that was inspired by God.
Well, then it had to be good.
It was a good letter. Yep. So I actually wrote, with the Lord, one day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is like one day.
1,000 years is a really long time, Peter.
1,000 years is a very, very long time for you or I, Luke.
And so for God, it's like one day?
For God, it is like one day. And one day is like 1,000 years.
That's incredible.
You see, children, it's very hard for me or Luke or probably you to understand how God can see 1,000 years. That's a lot of years.
I don't have that many fingers.
Think about all the birthday candles that would be on that birthday cake.
We'd need an extinguisher.
Need an extinguisher. And you see, God is able to see 1,000 years like it is just one day.
Wow!
Because God is everlasting.
El Olam.
El Olam. You know, this actually reminds me, I know you're not too fond of going back to the Old Testament right now.
Oh, I do love the Old Testament, though.
But the whole idea of El Olam, which means God is everlasting.
Indeed.
The whole idea reminds me of a story with Father Abraham.
Uh-huh.
So if you don't mind, I'd like to tell a story. And
make it snappy.
Okay. So the story takes place just right after Hagar and her son Ishmael were banished by Abraham. Actually, I think you might have learned about that just a week or two before.
Oh, we did indeed.
Yep. So right after that, Abimelech.
What?
Abimelech. Abimelech came to Abraham. Abimelech. You know, Luke, you're quite an interesting one. Anyways, Abimelech came to Abraham, and he told Abraham that he had treated Abraham very well, that he allowed him to use his land, that he allowed him to live peacefully in his territory, and Abimelech, he wanted the same to be true. He told Abraham that he knew that the one and true God was with Abraham. And that he wanted Abraham to swear that Abraham would treat Abimelech and his descendants with the same respect that Abimelech showed Abraham. You see, Abimelech is not just a name. It's actually also a title. It means the son of the king. So many believe that Abimelech was either the king or a prince of the territory.
Which would be a son of a king.
They're
known as a prince.
So you see, Abraham then made the oath to do what Abimelech said. They planted a tree, and Abraham named that place Beersheba. Beersheba meaning the land in which the promise was made. Now, Abraham planted a tree and named it Beersheba. He then prayed to God and said, "This place is in honor of El Olam."
The Lord is everlasting.
The Lord is everlasting.
Wow! That's incredible!
So you see, children, God is everlasting. Going all the way back to Abraham and Abimelech. There we go. Going all the way back to them, they knew that God was everlasting. Going to Jesus Christ himself, he knew that God was before the foundation of the world and always will be.
That's incredible! You know, what's amazing, Peter, is that you're here talking to us from the New Testament, and we reverse back over 400 years before that into the Old Testament, and the same God, El Olam, was everlasting with Abraham, and now fast forward, the same God didn't change. El Olam is everlasting with you and with us today. It's amazing. And it actually makes me think of a song. I know we're about out of time, but Peter, you may know this song, I think. I mean, it has gotten pretty widespread.
Yep.
But this is a fabulous song that reminds me of El Olam.
Yep.
There are some children in my studio audience that may know it as well. So if they do, they're welcome to sing along. This is the first time we have ever sang on Luke's Lookout Show. It is so exciting. Do you know which one it is, Peter?
I believe I do, yes.
It's from Isaiah.
Yep.
40.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. On the count of 3, we're going to sing for you. I've never done a duet with Peter before. This is amazing. 1, 2, 3. Have you not heard?
Heard what?
Do you not know?
No, what?
The Lord is the everlasting God, creator of the heavens and the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. He gives strength unto the weary. He gives strength unto the weary, and increases the power of the weak. Isaiah 40, 28, and 29. That was incredible. And that verse right there talks about how God is the everlasting God. El Olam created the heavens, created the earth. He knows us. He's the same God today as he was way back then in the Old Testament. And Peter was here to tell us about it. Amazing. Well, we are definitely out of time now. Peter, thank you for coming to visit with us today. I did like having someone from the the New Testament.
New Testament.
We may have to try this again. I will see you in the studio. Thanks for looking out with us on Luke's Lookout Show.
You kids have a